All right, ready for another deep dive. Today, we're tackling something pretty essential for any business, really, but especially for those down under. We're talking about Google, and more specifically, how to make Google work for you.
Because let's face it, when was the last time you went past that first page of search results?
Yeah, never. And that's exactly where we want your business to be seen. And luckily for us, we've got a great resource to help us unpack that.
Right, a blog post from Now Technology Systems, an Australian web design company that's all about boosting your visibility on Google. They share some great tips specifically geared towards Aussie businesses, which is perfect for our audience.
It is. So let's jump right in. The first thing they stress, and they really hammer this home, is the importance of Google My Business, or GMB, as it's often called.
And it's easy to think of this as just another thing to check off your to-do list. But honestly, it's so much more than that.
Yeah, they even call it your digital storefront.
Which is such an accurate way to think about it, especially in today's world where everyone's glued to their phones. Imagine you're craving some good coffee, right?
Always.
What's the first thing you do? You whip out your phone, Google coffee near me.
And boom, up pops a map with all these listings.
Exactly. And those are GMB listings. That's your first point of contact with potential customers, even before they even see your website.
It's like walking down the street and you see all these shops, right? Which ones are you drawn to?
The ones that look inviting from the outside?
Exactly. And GMB is like that storefront for your online presence.
Yeah.
You want to make a good first impression.
Absolutely. Accurate business hours, some high-quality photos, maybe a catchy description. It all matters. But you know what really makes a difference?
What? Spill the beans.
Reviews.
Reviews, of course.
I mean, think about it. How much do you rely on reviews before trying a new restaurant, booking a hotel, you name it?
Oh, all the time.
Bruh.
Honestly, reviews make or break my decisions online.
Right. And it's the same for everyone else, including potential customers checking out your business. Those positive reviews on your GMB profile, those are like gold.
Social proof. Right.
Exactly. People trust the opinions of other customers. It's like having a crowd of happy people vouching for you, saying, hey, this business is legit. They deliver what they promise.
Okay, so we've got our storefront looking good. Now, let's talk about the goods, the actual content. The source hits us with this classic phrase, content is king.
A bit cliche, isn't it? We hear it everywhere.
We do. So, in 2024, is content really still king?
It is, but with a caveat. And this is where the source gets more specific.
Yeah.
They say it's not just about churning out content for the sake of it. You have to know your audience.
It has to resonate.
Exactly. Think about it. You could have the most beautifully written website in the world, but if it's not relevant to what your target audience is looking for, it won't matter.
Right. You got to give the people what they want.
Exactly. Give them what they need, even if they don't know they need it yet. So the source says it's all about creating content that is valuable to your specific audience.
Okay, I like that. So it's not just about quantity, it's about quality and relevance.
Exactly. Think about it this way. Let's say you're a plumber in Melbourne. You could write a very technical blog post about, I don't know, the different types of pipes.
Right.
How many people are searching for that specific information?
Probably not your ideal customer.
Exactly. Now, what if instead you wrote an engaging article titled 5 Common Plumbing Mistakes Costing Melbourne Homeowners Thousands?
Okay, see, now you've got my attention.
Right. You've tapped into a pain point, offered valuable information, and positioned yourself as the local expert. That's what attracts people, and that's what Google loves.
So, relevant, engaging content, check. What's next on the list of Google must-dos? Well, speaking of attracting those eyeballs, let's talk about backlinks. The source dives into some pretty solid strategies for building those up, and it's not just vague advice either. They get specific.
Which I appreciate, because get backlinks sounds great in theory, but how do you actually do that effectively, right?
Right. So they start with guest blogging, which, I'll admit, I always thought of as more of a way to get your name out there, share your expertise.
It's definitely that, but it's also a fantastic way to earn those valuable backlinks. Remember our Melbourne plumber from earlier?
Oh, with the burst pipes?
Exactly. Instead of just writing that amazing blog post on their own website, what if they reached out to, say, a popular home improvement blog in Melbourne?
Okay, I see where you're going with this. Get featured on a bigger platform.
Exactly. They could offer to write a guest post on, I don't know, preventing plumbing disasters during Melbourne winters, something catchy like that.
Okay, now they've got a whole new audience interested in home improvement, reading their stuff.
Precisely. And in return for that valuable content, what do they get? A backlink back to their website from a reputable source.
Win-win.
Exactly. The blogger's happy, the plumber's happy, Google's happy, everybody wins.
And then, it's not just about guest blogging. The source also talks about local partnerships, which, again, feels very Aussie-centric. They even use the term mates rates.
I loved that. But it's true, right? Building relationships with other businesses in your local area, that's huge for backlink opportunities. Think about it, our Melbourne baker.
Yeah, still thinking about that sourdough.
Right. What if they partnered with a local cafe? The cafe features the bakery's bread on their menu.
Oh, I love that. The cafe gets delicious bread, the bakery gets a backlink from the cafe's website, maybe even a shout out on social media.
Exactly. Everyone benefits. And those are just two examples. The possibilities are endless when you start thinking about businesses that complement your own, not even competitors.
Right, suppliers, retailers, even local events.
Exactly. It's about creating that network, that community, both online and offline.
Okay, so we've got guest blogging, we've got local partnerships. The source mentions one more strategy for building backlinks that they believe is the most effective.
And it's probably the simplest, yet often the most overlooked. Create amazing content, content that people naturally want to link to.
Okay, sounds good, but
Ah.
easier said than done, right?
Yeah.
How do you make content that practically begs to be shared?
It's about going beyond the basics. Think about what your audience really wants to know. What are they struggling with? What questions are they asking?
So for our plumber, it could be a step-by-step guide to winterizing your pipes in Melbourne, something like that.
Exactly, you're providing real value. And when people find your content truly helpful, they're more likely to share it with their network, link to it from their own website, recommend you to others.
So you're not just creating content for Google, you're creating it for humans. And Google picks up on that.
Exactly. It's about playing the long game. You consistently put out high-quality, shareable content, you build that trust, that authority, and the backlinks will come naturally.
Makes sense. Okay, so we've covered guest blogging, local partnerships, and creating amazing content, 3 solid strategies for building high-quality backlinks. But gotta ask, what about the elephant in the room? Or should I say, the web design company behind this very blog post?
Ah, yes. The subtle sales pitch at the end, they lay out all this great advice, and it's like, hey, by the way, we can do all this for you.
Exactly, but honestly, they kind of have a point, don't they? This SEO stuff, it's a lot to handle.
It absolutely is. It's an ongoing process, constantly evolving. Think of it like a garden. You can't just plant some seeds and expect them to thrive without any effort.
I like that. So you're saying it's great to understand the basics, do what you can yourself, but there's also a point where it might make sense to call in the experts.
Absolutely. Like, you wouldn't hesitate to call a plumber if you had a burst pipe, right? Sometimes you need someone who lives and breathes this stuff.
No shame in calling for backup, especially when it comes to something as important as your online presence.
Right. And even if you do end up hiring an agency, having this knowledge, it empowers you. You'll ask the right questions, understand their approach.
Be an informed consumer.
Exactly. So with that in mind, this whole conversation has really got me thinking. If I had to pick just one thing to focus on from all the great advice in this blog post, what would it be?
Ooh, that's a tough one. So many good nuggets of wisdom. I think for me, it would have to be that emphasis on knowing your audience,
Absolutely.
right? Because you could have the most amazing SEO strategy, but if it's not attracting the right people to your site, what's the point?
It's like throwing a party and inviting everyone, but none of your actual friends can make it.
Exactly. So how do we make sure we're inviting the right people to our online party?
It all starts with understanding your target market, really understanding them. Who are they? What are their pain points? What keeps them up at night?
What are they typing into that Google search bar at 3 a.m.?
Exactly. Once you have a clear picture of who you're trying to reach, then it's like, okay, what kind of content will resonate with these people? What keywords will grab their attention?
So it's almost like having a conversation with your ideal customer through your website content.
That's a great way to put it. And Google, they're getting better and better at understanding those conversations, those connections. It's not just about keywords anymore. It's about the intent behind those keywords.
Right, like what is this person really looking for?
Exactly. And are you providing that information in a clear, engaging, and valuable way?
So if we had to boil this whole deep dive down to one key takeaway,
Know your audience. Seriously, it's the foundation of everything.
it's like that saying, if you try to speak to everyone, you'll end up speaking to no one.
100%. So focus on those ideal customers, figure out what makes them tick, and then...
Give them what they want.
Uh-huh.
Or, better yet, Give them what they didn't even know they needed.
Now you're getting it. And that is how you win at Google, my friends.
Well said. It's been a pleasure diving deep into all things Google with you.
Likewise. Always happy to geek out about SEO.
To all our listeners, thanks for tuning in. We hope you found this deep dive valuable.
And remember, small steps in the right direction can lead to big results.
Until next time.